Hey, what's up, y'all? Good to have you back again. Lately, I've been trying to figure out how I'm gonna balance all the stuff I've got going on without completely frying my brain in the process. You know, a lot of this. It's almost like I'm trying to solve a giant puzzle. Anyway, while I'm busy putting together this Psychopaths video, making sure I get every detail right, I thought I'd drop a little filler episode in the meantime. Like when an anime studio runs out of manga material and just tosses in a random episode sounding like this. I'm hoping to release it in begin July. Anyway, I really appreciate the patience, folks. In the meantime, I want to dive into a franchise I absolutely loved growing up, one that doesn't get nearly enough love in my opinion. It's that one franchise that's kinda been hanging out in the background, quietly doing its own thing. That's right, today we're gonna talk about Professor Layton. You could have guessed it already from the title and thumbnail. You see, the Nintendo DS was a great handheld because of the variety of unique games it offered. With its dual screens, touch controls, and even a built-in microphone, developers really had... Let me try again one more time. The Nintendo DS was a great handheld because of the variety of unique games it offered. With its dual screens, touch controls, and even a built-in microphone, developers really had the freedom to experiment in ways that home consoles couldn't match. From RPGs like The World Ends With You and Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story to Elite Beat Agent and Rhythm Heaven, the Nintendo DS had some of the most unique games out there. I mean, except for those ones. Those were absolutely, who played them? You had strategy games like Advance Wars, Dual Strike, and Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. Mind-bending puzzle games like Ghost Trick Phantom Detective and Picross 3D, even wild experiments like Trauma Center, where you're out there performing high-stakes surgery with a freaking stylus. Wait, that's a topic for another video, but you get my point. Professor Layton is a puzzle adventure game series developed by Level 5, and it first hit the Nintendo DS back in 2007, with the first title being Curious Village. You play as the main character, Professor Herschel Layton, a well-mannered top-tier archaeologist, puzzle master, and supposedly a master in swordsmanship too. They should bring him in the next Smash Bros, man. He's totally capable fighting Bowser and Samus. Alongside him is his apprentice, Luke Trident, a wide-eyed, inquisitive kid who's always eager to learn and quick to chime in with his own thoughts. He helps out with puzzles, asks the right questions, and occasionally provides that innocent perspective that keeps things grounded. Oh, and he also can talk to animals, apparently. But the more you play, the more you realize that their bond is not the teacher and student bond. It's got a Gohan and Piccolo vibe, where the mentorship slowly turns into a father and son bond. Luke's real dad is totally cool with letting his 10-year-old kid run around on dangerous adventures with a random stranger that almost gets him killed, because that's what every responsible parent will do, right? But hey, the dynamic's actually top tier. They have a really great bond from the beginning to end. And as you would expect from a mystery adventure game, kinda like Ace Attorney, Professor Layton is also packed with strange events, a variety of characters, and of course, an absurd number of puzzles. Some puzzles are simple, others will really make you think, and some even prevent you from reaching the end if your DS mic is broken. But you don't have to worry at all. If you get stuck, there are hint coins you can find around the areas to help you out. But if your mic doesn't work, well then, good luck, because no amount of hint coins is gonna actually save you from that one puzzle that insists you literally to blow into the mic. Oh yeah, and the difficult is defined by the picaret system. The higher the picarets, the higher the picarets, the higher the picarets, the high. The higher the picarets, the harder the puzzle. Level 5 really did a great job with the variety of puzzles in Professor Layton. You will encounter jigsaw puzzles, math challenges, and brain-bending visual conundrums that will make you question everything you know about geometry. And a whole lot of sliding puzzles too. Some even have a time limit, adding pressure as you try to figure them out, like the first time you meet Luke, for example, where you've got a clock ticking down while you're still trying to figure out what the puzzle even is. And the way they're integrated into the game is key. As you explore the world, you'll find characters offering up their own little problems as puzzles, strange contraptions you've got to figure out, and hidden challenges tucked away. For instance, in Professor Layton and the Curious Village, you'll meet a shopkeeper who's trying to organize their store and hands you a puzzle involving blocks that need to be arranged into a square. The random puzzles are connected to the character's everyday life, and solving it feels like you're really helping them. Or in Professor Layton and the Diabolical box, there's this mystery contraption on a train that requires you to solve a mechanical puzzle to progress. It's part of the mystery and directly tied to the plot. And by solving those puzzles, you help the characters, and sometimes they'll thank you. They all feel like they belong in the world, not like you're just another thing you have to do. This makes solving them feel natural, and they feel like part of the mystery unfolding around you. At least that's my opinion. Anyway, I want to talk about the roots of this game. The roots of this franchise are actually tied to something pretty interesting. Real-world puzzle books. Unlike many other puzzle games that rely on generic logic challenges like Sudoku or minigames, Professor Layton was directly inspired by the works of Akira Tago, a renowned Japanese professor and psychologist. Tago wasn't just any academic, he was a pioneer in cognitive development and problem solving. And his best-selling series of brain training books, Atama no Taisu, translated as Head Gymnastics, became a major influence in Japanese education. These books were carefully designed to enhance critical thinking, lateral reasoning, and pattern recognition, essentially training the brain to think in unconventional ways. Level 5 CEO and Professor Layton's director, Akihiro Hino, was deeply inspired by Tago's work. At the time, brain training games were already gaining popularity, with titles like Brain Age proving that people enjoyed testing their mental skills in a fun and interactive way. And I swear I have already seen 3 people in my area who exactly look like who exactly look like him. Anyway, Hino saw a gap. These games were often sterile, lacking depth beyond the puzzles themselves. He wanted to create something more immersive, something that blended intellectual challenge with emotional engagement, which would reach a broader audience for both young and old people. His thought process was simple but brilliant. What if we mix this brain-boosting stuff with a compelling emotional story to make it different from all the other math riddle games? So rather than just throwing puzzles into a game for the sake of it, Hino and his team made a world where solving puzzles felt like an organic part of an adventure. He even got Akira Tago, the professor himself, involved in it, hiring him to design many of the puzzles found in the Professor Layton series. This collaboration ensured that the puzzles weren't just entertaining but also mentally stimulating in a way that felt rewarding, and that blend of mental challenge, narrative storytelling, and the variety of characters made it such a standout series. And for me, the riddle challenges itself is pretty fun. I enjoy being tested and trying to figure out the stories on my own, but when you add a unique story, deep characters, and themes that actually make you think, it elevates the experience into something way more engaging. Piecing together clues, uncovering secrets, and working your way up to that dramatic Layton pointing with his finger moment when the entire mystery finally clicks into place. Pretty amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Oh wait, we gotta run a little bit. Okay, that was kinda weird, but one of the most distinctive aspects of the Professor Layton series is its visual aesthetics and art style, which truly sets it apart from the other franchises. The game has this beautiful hand-drawn, watercolor-like aesthetic that's unmistakably European-inspired, with the old-school 1900s architecture, villages, and of course, that slick British accent.
Professor, can you explain British politics?
No.
I don't know why I said it, I just thought it was pretty cool. It's not really a modern day setting, nor has it a lot of fantasy elements in it. Rather, it presents a world that's both magical and grounded in realism. One that feels ancient. Wait, I wouldn't say ancient, but like timeless. Timeless. But it still could easily exist today. The designs of the characters too are minimalistic yet expressive and unique, with clean lines and exaggerated proportion like in One Piece, and minimal facial features, which was inspired by the classic French animation The Triplets of Belleville. The Triplets of Belleville. I hope I said it right. For instance, the professor himself has a simple cylindrical body shape with a tiny nose and dot eyes. Yet his top hat and refined posture instantly convey his gentlemanly nature. Similarly, characters like Inspector Shelmy with his boxy frame and permanent scowl, or Granny Riddleton with her hunched back and beady eyes, manage to be both visually simple and deeply memorable. Or in contrast, like the storyteller and Anthony Herson, both with their flowing robes, the masked face, and the bigger eyes that have the more Inazuma 11 like art style that create an air of mystery and unease without needing intricate detail. And even background characters such as like Polly and Sylvan stand out through their exaggerated proportion. One is thin and wiry, while the other one is bulky and round, showcasing how the game's art style effortlessly communicates personality through silhouette alone. And there are many more examples like those. The world building carries that Studio Ghibli vibe, for example in mysterious nighttime vibes from Spirited Away in Folsense, or the grand ancient ruins and hidden secrets in Professor Layton and the Azran Legacy. The temples, ice caves, and the forgotten world of the Azrans evoke a sense of timelessness, similar to the ancient overgrown ruins and lush, hidden landscapes seen in the movie Castle in the Sky. Every place and street corner in the game hides its own little secret, whether it's a hidden hint coin, a puzzle Layton suddenly remembers in a dark alleyway, or this mysterious traveler you only spot once in a while. The color palettes are warm and muted, paired with these intricate watercolor-like backgrounds that make each scene feel both cozy and mysterious because of the atmosphere, and everything comes together in the art style. The art style reminds me of those books you read before you go to sleep when you were very young. Everything feels polished and timeless, creating a world that's beautifully stylized but not overly realistic or overly fantastical. The settings often look like they could be plucked straight from a European countryside, but subtly infused with elements of magic, like Luke befriending animals by talking with them. Level 5 excels at crafting the environments in Professor Layton, where every location is meticulously designed and imbued with its own unique identity, but also reveals a lot about the lore behind those places. For example, the town of Saint Mystere, especially under the night sets the stage with its quaint charm and mysterious atmosphere. The streets are narrow, the houses are tightly packed, and the entire place gives off an air of secrecy, especially when you stumble upon an abandoned amusement park. Why is it abandoned when playing this game, I asked, why is it abandoned when the village itself is still thriving? Shouldn't kids be around? It only would make sense if the whole village was abandoned. It's as if the townfolks are hiding something. The tower enters and summit looms ominously over the village, an ever-present reminder that there's more to this place than meets the eye. The oddball characters, like the cryptic villagers, who all seem just a little too rehearsed, that only add to the feeling that something isn't quite right in that place. It's like they're robots. It's like they're robots. The eerie stillness of Rainhold Manor, with its grand halls and the eerie secrets, reinforces that sense of unease. The series is masterful at using setting to elevate its mysteries. On the other hand, Monte in Miracle Mosque offers a lively and vibrant contrast, serving as one of the most varied and dynamic environments in the Professor Layton franchise. This bustling desert city, which transforms once every 18 years, becomes an electrifying spectacle of neon lights, towering structures, and carnival-like atmosphere that rivals the energy of Las Vegas. It's a place where excitement and entertainment are woven into the very fabric of the city, making it feel alive at all hours. Montador pushes with a sense of constant motion, where the Grand Plaza is always sputtling with energy. Street performers fill the air with music, and the carnival tents hide enigmatic attractions that draw both the curious and the thrill-seeking. The city's towering skyscrapers, illuminated with vibrant neon signs, evoke the glitz and glam of a high-energy metropolis, reminding visitors of the iconic Las Vegas Strip, but with some Arabic architecture hints. Unlike the quiet secrecy of Saint-Mystere, Montador thrives on spectacle. The Masked Gentleman's Theater is a center of grand illusions, where magic and mystery are on full display. The eerie remnants of the old Montador town, a forgotten area now overtaken by sand and time, adds a chilling contrast to the city's otherwise lively energy. These ruins are tucked away in the outskirts, hint at a darker past that pushes beneath the surface, a city of mystery with a past shrouded in secrecy. Montador is more than just a place of entertainment. It's a vibrant, larger-than-life world where the mystery and showmanship blend seamlessly. The atmosphere here is constantly shifting, making every corner feel like opening of a new act in a grand, never-ending play. Whether you're exploring the towering buildings, uncovering the hidden history of the old city, or getting lost in the chaotic buzz of the carnival, Montador is very different from the quiet and enigmatic town of Saint-Mystere, the place where mystery unfolds with every step, and the line between reality and illusion is constantly blurred. The game also has the more serene and melancholic moments. Take Frossenbridge, for example, the snow-covered village from Professor Layton and the Ezran Legacy. I already have a great liking for snow levels in video games, but this quiet, tranquil setting has an almost dreamlike quality. Its snow-dusted buildings, calm, wintry streets, and the distant mountains create a peacefulness that is almost hypnotic. Like, sometimes in games, even when you have done everything you can do in those places, you just stay there a little bit longer because of the vibe, you know. I mean, you act like an NPC that lives there. You sit on those benches or I don't know, run around in a hotel or something. Yeah. Similarly, you also have Runeberg that's nestled in a wintry forest, radiates warmth despite its cold surroundings, giving the feeling of a place lost in time. And even in its more grounded moments, the Professor Layton series makes sure its locations feel immersive and alive. Misthallery from The Last Spectre is a foggy, melancholic riverside town that exudes a European village. Its foggy riverside adds to the mystery, while the ominous Barton Manor stands as a silent observer, overlooking the town like a spectre of the past. Even the black market that is run by a group of children, with this guy being the chief, hidden beneath the town, adds this extra layer of intrigue with its shady vendors and secret dealings. However, for me, the absolute standout in terms of aesthetic is Folsense. This place has a perfect balance between warmth, mystery, and darkness that creates this certain melancholic, cozy, and mysterious vibe. You see, Folsense's layout is dreamy and nostalgic, full of places like quaint alleys, overgrown gardens, a mine, some shops here and there, like this anti-vampire shop, a hotel, beautiful lighting everywhere with small stalls, and also we're not gonna talk about that one. Besides that, it looks a lot like the place before Chihiro enters the castle and Spirited Away. In every corner there are some characters that have to say something vague about the history of the town. Maybe they'll give you a puzzle or just want some tea. But a twist is, beware, major spoilers coming by the way. Everything was fake. Yeah, apparently you were just high the whole time and talking to people that weren't actually there. In the end, you got told that this town was once thriving. It has been abandoned for 50 years. Folsense was a town that was once a bustling community, but was abandoned after a tragedy tied to the mines. And the reason why you have been hallucinating the entire time and you saw the town like that is because of the paintings you've seen earlier of the town and the gas coming out of those mines. The toxic emissions from the mines caused a mysterious illness that plagued the townspeople. And despite this, the family who owned the mines, they didn't give a fuck. And they refused to shut them down, leading to the sickness and eventual ruin of Folsense. And eventually the townspeople relocated to what is now Dropstone, where you were earlier in the game. This, combined with the eerie silence of an abandoned town, is devastatingly effective. The slow reveal of the town's forgotten history adds a layer of depth that transforms it from just a beautiful environment into a place of haunting tragedy. And everything gets an upgrade with them tunes in the background, sweeps you into the world with emotional strings that perfectly match every moment. Whether it's the calm serenity of a European medieval village or the tension of uncovering a deep mystery, the soundtrack becomes a narrative tool in itself. The soundtrack blends multiple genres to create its distinct identity. You have French-inspired accordion melodies that give the game a Parisian Ladybot no Jutsu
No Jutsu
or European feel, which matches its setting inspired by the 19th 20th century European cities. Classical waltzes and piano pieces add a refined aristocratic air in that complements the mystery solving atmosphere. It's great, it's amazing. You have jazz and light swing elements infuse a detective noir vibe during playful or fast-paced moments, and the folk and orchestral influences often use strings and music box like instrumentation to evoke nostalgia and warmth, further enhancing the emotional depth of the game. And this careful use of instruments like the accordion, piano, strings and even music box sounds creates a signature soundscape for the franchise that's as memorable as the puzzle themselves. The OST of Folsense in Professor Layton and the Diabolical box is for me the perfect example of an atmospheric track. It's an essential part of the town's storytelling, subtly reinforcing the eerie and tragic history behind it. Like I talked about earlier in the video, Folsense itself is a frozen town in time. Its people has abandoned the city because of the hallucinogenic gas that was seeping from the mines and the ground. This gas has made him really sick, and the people entering this town again, like Professor Layton, has kept them trapped in a dreamlike state where decades have passed, yet they remain unaware of the true passage of time. The music captures this perfectly. It's waltz-like rhythm, reminiscent of an old forgotten ballroom dance, mirrors how the townspeople continue their lives as if nothing has changed, despite the reality being far different. The delicate piano melody feels like an old music box playing on repeat, an echo of Folsense's former glory. The soft strings and accordion combined with the melancholic tone creates this sense of faded grandeur, reflecting how the town was once a thriving, luxurious place before it was abandoned due to the gas leak. The fact that the track never builds to a dramatic climax mirrors how Folsense itself is stuck in a loop, a place where the time moves forward yet nothing truly changes. This haunting yet beautiful soundscape also ties into the story of Anton Herzen, the town's ruler, who has spent decades mourning a love lost to time. Just like Folsense, Anton is trapped in the past, believing Sophia is still out there, unaware that he himself is a victim of the same illusion. The music embodies this nostalgic yet unsettling, elegant yet eerie, perfectly capturing the essence of a town where nothing is quite as it is. And the mobile fortress from Unwanted Future. Its soundtrack is haunting and a bit chaotic, and when it plays during a crucial moment in the story, you can't help but feel this weight of everything that's been unfolding. The intensifying strings, coupled with the swelling brass instruments, elevate the emotional gravity of this scene. It literally stresses you out. The piano slowly carries this melody, adding to the raw, aching beauty of the moment. The track builds to a crescendo, immersing you in the climatic emotional storm, with each note pulling you deeper into the heartwarming, heart-wrenching drama. Another one which I really like to talk about is Veil of the Night from Curious Village, which is a great example. A hauntingly beautiful track that perfectly encapsulates the sense of loneliness and reflection that permeates the game's emotional moments. The soft harp, combined with low strings, brings a sense of peace while hinting at something darker, as if the world around you is full of quiet but unspoken pain. The soundtrack doesn't just tell you how to feel, it guides you through the emotional highs and lows, weaving itself into the fabric of the game. The way the soundtrack ties into the narrative elevates the story in a way that few games manage. It's not just about the puzzles you solve, it's about how the game makes you feel as you solve them. The music is an emotional guide that leads you through the highs and the lows of a story, and its impact lingers long after you've put down the game. It's a soundtrack that lives and breathes with the game itself, and that's something really special. Let's have a cup of tea first before we go further. The series is full of memorable, well-rounded and unique characters, each contributing their own distinct energy to the story. Besides Layton and Luke, there are so many more unforgettable personalities that make the world of Professor Layton feel so alive. You have Inspector Shelmy and his sidekick Barton. Shelmy is this stereotypical grumpy, no-nonsense cop who just doesn't understand why anyone would bother with puzzles constantly. Exasperated by how the professor and Luke manages to crack cases wide open with nothing but logic and riddles. Shelmy is that stubborn authority figure who refuses to acknowledge how much he actually relies on Layton. And despite his frustrations, he is not above admitting when Layton is right. And you have his sidekick Barton. Yeah, Barton just stands there. His presence might not be as commanding as Shelmy's, but Professor Layton wouldn't be the same without him. I like him though. He's just a chill guy. The antagonists are not bad either. Descole is an okay villain with his grand dramatic gestures and mysterious motives. He remains an enigma until Professor Layton and the Ezran Legacy. But that's a spoiler. I'll give you a few seconds to stay. I'll give you a few seconds to skip to. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I mean, I'm still recording it, but I hope the editor can put somewhere the time. Okay, so Descole is actually Layton's long-lost brother, whose real name is John Descole, or rather Herschel Layton's older brother. Let's try it again. Okay, so Descole is actually Layton's long-lost brother, whose real name is John Descole, or rather Herschel Layton's older brother, Raymond. He was separated from Layton as a child after their parents died in an Azran-related incident, and while Layton was adopted and given a new name, Descole was left to fend for himself. Growing bitter and vengeful, his entire motivation is rooted in personal loss, pain and revenge, making him a far more tragic figure than you initially realized. Instead of merely seeking power or control, he believes that he is the rightful heir to the secrets of the Azran civilization, and his obsession with uncovering them stems from his deep resentment toward the world that abandoned him. But he had absolutely no right to completely destroy a whole town in Last Spectre. Oh, and you have Don Paolo, who just hates Layton for raising up his crush. And you have some others like Stan Gon, Clive Dove, Leon Bronath, and Flip and fucking Bill Hawks. Man, level 5 did a great job in hating that character. My favorite part of the characters beyond the main cast are the quirky NPCs in every area that truly make the world feel alive. The Professor Layton series has for me the perfect NPCs that can be far more than just quest givers or filler characters. They are the lifeblood of the world, adding flavor, eccentricity, and a sense of immersion to the overall experience. These characters all have their unique personalities, bizarre behaviors, and quirky interactions they bring to the table. Rather than simply existing as passive entities, they contribute actively to the story and the player's experience, making every conversation feel meaningful. The games are filled with one-off characters whose eccentricities make them unforgettable, despite their fleeting presence. Crumb's Cafe in Curious Village is where gossip and mystery blend seamlessly, with his rugged appearance, a scar on his cheek, a discolored nose, and a no-nonsense attitude. Crumb is the village gossip hub, but he's cautious, hesitant to share the rumors with outsiders for fear of spreading lies. His attachment to Saint Mystere is deep, and he only opens up about the mysterious kidnapper after you've solved enough puzzles to prove your worth. When he does so, he points you toward Prosciutto, I don't know how you pronounce that, which is a regular who believes a strange old man is abducting villagers at night. You have Palliard, once a renowned chef, now owns a restaurant in future London, where he struggles with his distant relationship with his son, Max. And amidst the city's high-tech chaos, Palliard's worries about family and traditions are constant. He's a man caught between the past and the future, trying to hold on to what matters most as the world rushes around him. Gregorio, the chess master from Diabolical box, seems like the perfect puzzle to solve, but his true nature is a tragic one. He's an illusion created by the toxic gases from Folsense Castle, a manifestation of a man who died 50 years ago. Folsense, the town he inhabits, is similarly an illusion lost to time. The truth about Gregorio and the town is revealed when the castle collapses, ending the hallucination and leaving a haunting sense of loss. Each character, like the towns they inhabit, hides a deeper story beneath their surface. Their mysteries make the world of Professor Layton feel alive, with secrets waiting to be uncovered. Each NPC contributes to the atmosphere, world building, regardless of whether they are central to the plot or not. Every character has their own story, quirks, and motivations, making the world feel reactive and alive, like a well-oiled clockwork mechanism where even the smallest cog has purpose. Some characters are self-absorbed, like Marco from Curious Village, who can't go 3 sentences without flexing his wealth, a trait that not only makes him absurdly entertaining but also acts as a subtle dig at a town's hierarchy. Others shift their behavior based on the unfolding story, like the citizens of Unwound Future, who become increasingly panicked as the game progresses. culminating in the revelation that apparently every single one of them has an irrational fear of hats. It's the way these characters react, adapt, and sometimes spiral into absolute nonsense that makes the world feel alive, immersive, and constantly surprising. In every town and every encounter, NPCs are not static fillers, but dynamic parts of the world. Their personalities and dialogue shape the way you experience the narrative, often providing clues, side stories, and even emotional depth to the main plot. And speaking about the main plot, let's move on to the storytelling. Professor Layton has this ability to start with a seemingly simple, straightforward mystery that gradually unfolds into something far larger and emotionally impactful. This gradual reveal is a hallmark of the series, with each game's plot starting off with a puzzle or mystery that seems isolated and self-contained through a ladder, but slowly evolves into a complex narrative that ties in both the past and the present, often with heavy emotional stakes. Take the Curious Village for example. The storytelling in this game stands out as one of the best in the series. Initially, it appears to be a standard mystery surrounding a strange inheritance and a hidden treasure, introduced by a personal letter from a mysterious benefactor. But as the game progresses, the pacing allows you to learn more about the key characters, the past, transforming the story into something much deeper and more poignant. The puzzles are integral to exploring the undercurrents of the characters' lives. As the personal connections between the characters and the central mystery begin to unfold, the puzzles become a lens through which we explore these motivations. By the time the game reaches its emotional climax, the payoff feels deeply satisfying because it's not just about solving a riddle, it's about understanding the complex narrative and uncovering the personal stories and unresolved emotions driving it. The depth of this emotional exploration continues to grow in the sequels. In Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box, the initial mystery of a deadly artifact gradually gives way to a story about loss, betrayal, and the corrupting influence of greed, the root of problems of all mankind. While the artifact is the catalyst for the plot, the true heart of the game is understanding the choices of the characters and their struggles to reconcile with their past. As the player progresses through the puzzles, they're not just solving a mystery, they're uncovering layers of emotional turmoil and coming to terms with characters' hidden motives. And this thematic depth is a key strength of the series, with each game building on the last in terms of complexity and emotional resonance. The integration of puzzles and narrative is one of the most impressive aspects of the series. The puzzles aren't just distractions from the story, they are an essential part of it. Solving a puzzle often feels like uncovering a clue that brings you one step closer to the truth, or it's also about unlocking a deeper understanding of the characters and their emotional journeys. The puzzles themselves can often be metaphors for these journeys, challenging assumptions, thinking outside the box, and navigating through complexity. The synergy between gameplay and narrative makes each solved puzzle feel like a genuine progression, not only in the mystery, but in your understanding of the broader narrative. However, this series is not without its quirks. One of the more divisive aspects of Professor Layton's storytelling is its love for absurd, unexpected, and unrealistic plot twists. While they're often fun and memorable, they can sometimes feel jarring, stretching the boundaries of believability. For example, in Pandora's Box, you might expect a supernatural curse or a hidden conspiracy behind the deaths linked to the mysterious artifact, but instead you discover that the events were caused by hallucinogenic gas. Yep, you were high the entire time, even when you fought that guy with a sword. An entirely different direction than what players had anticipated. Similarly, Unwanted Future, which is much worse, sets up a time travel narrative, only for the twist to reveal that a billionaire recreated a fake version of London only to toy with later. These reveals, while entertaining, can feel over the top, and their absurdity can undercut the emotional weight of the story. That said, the series thrives on its theatricality, and part of its charm lies in embracing these outlandish plot developments. Even when the twists verge on the unbelievable, they remain unforgettable and contribute to the game's unique flair. In contrast, Curious Village offers a plot twist that feels clever and well executed, with a payoff that makes more sense within the story's logic. This is the one game in the series where the twist not only surprised me, but also felt grounded in the narrative's internal consistency. It's reminiscent of One Piece, where seemingly far-fetched elements make sense in the larger context of the story, providing a satisfying and meaningful revelation. And beneath the surface of the puzzles and plot twists, the Professor Layton series also offers genuinely touching moments, particularly in the evolving relationship between Layton and Luke. What begins as a simple mentor-student dynamic gradually transforms into a deeper, almost Gohan, Piccolo, father-son connection. Their exchanges are filled with genuine care and affection, creating an emotional core that makes the stories resonate on a personal level. The subtle character development that takes place over the course of each game adds a layer of warmth and depth, making the emotional payoff feel even more profound. And ultimately, the Professor Layton series excels at blending mystery, puzzle solving, and emotional storytelling in a way that is uniquely engaging. It starts with a simple question, but by the end, it's about more than just answering that question. It's about understanding the hearts and minds of the characters, the complexities of the relationships, and the emotional stakes that drive their actions. Even when the narrative surprises with absurd twists, it never loses sight of the emotional richness at its core. That balance of intrigue, heart, and clever gameplay is what makes Professor Layton's storytelling so remarkable. The minigames in each of these games are kinda nice. You've got the parrot guiding Mario Bros minigame, doppelganger in One Future, the camera-based puzzles in the Diabolical box, and my personal favorite one, team-making minigame in the Diabolical box, where you're trying to create specific tea blends for characters using a variety of herbs only to disappoint the professor and the person I made it for. But when I was doing research to make this video, I discovered that Spectre Skull, aka Last Spectre, had a 100+ hour RPG Mother 3 Animal Crossing like minigame called London Life, and was also created by the makers of Mother 3. And it was not available in Europe for some reason, which sucks a lot. I would have bought this minigame alone if it was $15. Okay, now I wouldn't actually do that, but the Europeans missed out on something. In the minigame, you can create your character, talk to other characters that are in the mainline games like Beluga, Barton, complete quests at different times of the day, decorate your room to then get a bigger room, and even decorate your room to unlock a bigger space. Basically, Animal Crossing in Mother 3 art style, but in the universe of Professor Layton. The quests in London Life comes in a variety of types. Some are time sensitive, others are repeatable, and some are unique to the storyline. As you complete these, you earn money, happiness, and even items to customize your character's room. There's also a sense of progression as you level up your character and develop relationships with the quirky townsfolk. It has a surprising amount of depth for a side game, hidden in a Professor Layton title. And all the other minigames were good. It's nice to play them a few times, but it's not that special in my opinion, except for that one hamster minigame. That one was cool. Now, before we wrap things up, of course, as someone who's on the internet, I want to share my top 3 titles from the mainline games. This game truly sets the tone for the entire series. The soundtracks is absolutely iconic. The music for areas like the village, the nighttime, and the puzzles have this perfect mix of lightheartedness and mystery. I can't get enough of the main theme that plays in the village. It's sketchy, serene, and sets the mood for the entire game. But it's not just the music that shines, it's the sheer variety of puzzles. You get everything from logic puzzles to riddles that challenge you to think outside the box, keeping the gameplay fresh and engaging. The characters are also memorable, especially the eccentric yet lovable Professor Layton himself, and of course Luke, who adds that childlike curiosity sidekick that grounds the mystery. The overall atmosphere is warm and inviting, but there's still a sense of something deeper lurking beneath the surface. And speaking of the conclusion, it's both realistic and satisfying, which is rare for puzzle games. The way it ties everything together with this sense of closure is a big win for me. The only downside, and I'm nitpicking here a little bit, is the red exclamation mark that pops up every time when you click on a person, even if they don't have anything new to offer. It feels repetitive and kind of breaks the flow when you're just trying to move the story forward. This game's standout feature for me is the town of Folsense. The atmosphere here is top tier, with a unique blend of warmth, mystery, and a touch of darkness that creates this hauntingly cozy vibe. The layout of Folsense is what really grabs me. It's what really grabs me. Its winding alleys and overgrown gardens and the secluded spots make it all feel like a dream. There's even this anti-vampire shop, a hotel, and little stalls dotted around the place. The whole town gives off a spirited away vibe, especially before Chihiro enters the castle, but I said that earlier in the video, so yeah. It's a place that feels alive but also a bit forgotten by time. In every corner there's some characters offering a riddle, a puzzle, or a cryptic hint about the town's history, which keeps you on your toes. The twist completely changes everything. Again, major spoilers ahead, but it was revealed that Folsense isn't what it seemed at all. The entire time you've been hallucinating, and the town, which seems so vibrant, has been abandoned for over 50 years due to a tragic event. The puzzles were great, and there has been a lot of variety of characters, but the only thing that made it on number 2 is the plot twist, which is the fact that it has been completely unrealistic and a bit, I don't know, kinda rushed. Apparently you were just high the whole time, and there's been no ties between the artifact and the whole town. There's no real vampires or anything like that. At number 3, Miracle Mask has been a bit of a slow burn for me. When I first saw the 3D art style, I wasn't really impressed by it, but it felt really different and a bit forced because the game was on the 3DS. It felt a bit jarring compared to the hand-drawn aesthetic of the previous games. But as I spent more time with it, I came to appreciate the 3D design. It really grew on me. It's actually really great. So I give this my aesthetic is great approval. Miracle Mask is a solid entry into the series, and the environments here are incredible. The city of Monte has a vibrant, almost magical atmosphere with a mixture of bright colors and detailed settings that really make you feel like you're wandering through an Arabian-style town. The puzzles, as always, are excellent, with some particularly memorable ones that make you feel like a real detective piecing together clues. The story, though, is not as deep as the ones in Diabolical Box or Curious Village, but it is still engaging. The characters, particularly the mysterious masked gentleman, add intrigue to the plot, and the backstory of Layton himself was also a good part, giving us some much needed insight into his past, which is a nice touch, except the dungeon. Really, fuck that dungeon. Besides that, there's a nice balance between the light-hearted moments and the more serious undertones. It's a game that builds well on the established formula while adding new twists and turns to keep things fresh. Despite the initial adjustment to the 3D style, it became one of my favorites due to its great environment, puzzles, and a solid story. And so that has been my top 3, and also the end of today's first official filler episode of this channel. If you stuck around with me through all the details, I am really thankful. It is always great diving into things that make these games or shows so special. And I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up, share your thoughts, maybe your favorite games of the mainline franchise in the comments, and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Take care, and I catch you next time. Bye bye.